everyone, it's Catherine, and I figured around this season is when you're at an all-time flop level of motivation. You can't figure it out. You feel like you're failing 7 classes even though you're only taking 5. You know there's a ton of work for you to do, but the whole process of motivating yourself is just a lot more difficult than it really should be. How I motivate myself is probably the most popular question I get asked, so I'm going to deliver on that in this video here. But also, if you want to see what my school life is like, I am doing Vlogmas this year on my vlog channel, so head over there. It's going to be a perfect storm because Vlogmas is starting right when I'm cranking out my studying for finals. So if you want to see every waking move of my days for 25 days straight, go subscribe to my vlog channel. It's going to be a little delirious over there and a little bit amazing. So tip number 1, take a shower. It seems simple, you know, almost too simple, but I know myself, I personally feel guilty if I am not always working towards being productive and efficient. So shower time is perfect for motivation time because you just cannot justify doing anything else while you're in there for those 10 or 15 minutes. You're forced to just take care of yourself, process things, let your mind wander, and that wandering time is so precious for restoring your motivation. Understandably, you don't always have a shower at your disposal wherever you're studying, but try to find some space where you can let your mind wander. So take a lap around the building or spend 5 minutes just staring out of a window and just zoning out. And that'll just be a quick burst of refreshment. Tip number 2, the most motivated people are actually the happiest people. And I know it might seem impossible to feel joy when there's just so much work mounting upon you and absolutely zero motivation to do it all. It's completely overwhelming, but easy tip. This is actually from Tim Robbins if you want to check it out further. Take 2 minutes, both of your hands, place them over your heart, and for the next 120 seconds, recite 3 things to yourself that you're grateful for. Just 3 things that you appreciate today. You're glad they're in your life. They could be big, they could be small, they could happen every day. But remarking upon how good your life actually is despite all the stress around you is proven to put you in at least a little bit of a better place than you were before. Tip number 3, I give this the most often when people ask me on my Tumblr or my Twitter or my vlog channel how I motivate myself when I'm really not feeling it. And there are plenty of times where I am just not feeling it. I usually respond to those with just change your environment. If you're used to studying on your couch, move to your desk. If you're used to studying on your bed, move to your couch. You can move from the first floor to the second floor. You could even just switch up the way things are laid out on the table. By doing something that puts you into a new space, it'll sort of force you to reset and recalibrate and switch on your motivation. This tip is probably the one that I tried the most. Tip number 4, if changing your environment is not working for you, and my first 2 wonderful tips are just not happening in your life, lowering the amount of time you expect to do something consistently works. If the thought of going to the gym for an hour today sounds repulsive to you, just lower that time from an hour to 40 minutes. And if that still sounds daunting, you can lower it to 20 minutes. And if 20 minutes is still too much, you can literally just tell yourself that you'll go to the gym for 5 minutes. Find a time where going on the treadmill is no longer intimidating. And once you're actually at the gym and on the treadmill, by showing yourself that you can actually accomplish something in just 5 minutes, you'll most likely continue on with that task past that point. Tip number 5, the next few tips are starting to shift into preemptive strategies, so ways you can set yourself up for success ahead of time. Tip number 5 would be to only check social media 3 times a day. And I know this sounds insane, especially to a millennial, but it is possible. The most effective way to do this is just to change your lock screen notification settings. So instead of letting every single piece of information that's happening flow directly to you, like every minute of the day, I only let my texts, my phone calls, and my emails come through the lock screen. Because realistically, you don't need to be checking your Twitter every 20 minutes. It might sound attractive while you're studying to give yourself kind of like a fun break and go on social media, but really that's just overloading you with stimuli in a way that if you just took those same 5 minutes and walked around the building, that would be refreshing and that would be kind of a load off. If you can enforce yourself to push back against Tim Cook and restrain your iPhone lock screen settings, you'll still check your social media. You can still check like 3 times a day. You can check when you wake up, when you go to lunch, and then before you go to bed. But it'll keep you in sort of like a flow mode as you're studying so you can continue on with your motivation streak instead of getting distracted by social media. Tip number 6 is like revolutionary. It does take more work to set up than the past tips, but it rewards you so much more than tips 1 through 5 would. I actually read about this, or rather listened about this through an audiobook. It was a book entirely about how to be productive, and you can conveniently download that using my free trial, audibletrial.com/Katherout. If you haven't fallen for another one of the YouTubers' ploys to get you to do Audible, just fall for mine. It'll be your saving grace if you download this audiobook about productivity, because it'll just kick you into high gear. In any case, what the author was advocating for is finding your biologically productive time. Your BPT is when you're naturally most energized and motivated to do your work. And I'll link down below a website for you to actually track this and get your BPT settled out. But basically for a week or 2 or even a month, you'll every single hour just quickly jot down how you're feeling that hour. And then over a couple of weeks of tracking your day-to-day energy levels, you could actually find the pattern of when you work best. So for me, I found that I was super energized from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. But then when it hit 2 p.m., you could not get me to do anything. That was my lunch break time. That was my time to just goof off and not be super focused. So I know now when I have a study day to plug in 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. as my most important work time, and then to give myself time to, maybe go to office hours or eat lunch with a friend at 2 p.m. So if you can follow the link down below and start to track your BPT will do the work for you. You no longer really have to engage self-control or work on your willpower because your natural energy levels will do the work for you. Tip number 7 is setting an action trigger. And that sounds weirdly technical, but it's really just establishing the where, when, and what of how you're going to accomplish your goals or your homework before you actually set out to do those things. So instead of sitting down in the library, getting all your stuff out, and then kind of thinking, okay, do I want to start on my essay? Do I want to eat a snack? Do I want to start on the problem set? You do all that thinking ahead of time by writing it down in your calendar. So if you know the upcoming week, Monday through Friday, is like 5 out of 5 days of just a traumatizing workload, set action triggers on Sunday night. So on Sunday night, go through and say, on Monday from 10 to 12, I'll be on the 2nd floor of this library doing the intro, 1st and 2nd paragraphs of my essay. And then from 1 to 3, I'm gonna work on problem set number 5, problems 6 through 8 on the 3rd floor of that library. So put down where you're gonna do the work, what you're specifically doing, and the actual time period you're doing that for. And the reason I encourage you all to do this is because by writing it down, you're 74% more likely to actually get that work done. What that's gonna do is decrease how much you'll have to think the day of about what you wanna do, and that's gonna save you tons of energy to plug into your motivation. Tip number 8, this is more of a retroactive tip, so not preemptive or like during your motivation slump. This tip is to be used exclusively when you've tried 1 through 7 and none of them will get you out of your motivation ditch. Basically, if you know you're gonna procrastinate and you know you're not gonna do the work you need to, create a productive procrastination list. And I am so attracted to this idea. I love it. And the way it'll work is you just set up on a post-it note or on the digital notes section of your phone or laptop. Write out things that are still helpful to do, but not directly related to your schoolwork. So for me, on my productive procrastination list, I have things like set up a meeting with my mentor, or call my parents, or get to those emails that have been sitting in my inbox forever. And that way, if you're gonna spend 30 minutes not working on your essay, at least do it in some sort of meaningful way where you're still developing, advancing yourself, and not just wasting time on social media. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below with which of these 8 tips you're gonna try. That way it's sort of like a written action trigger and you'll actually want to work those out. Those were all of my 8 curated tips for motivation. Thumbs up if you enjoyed them. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time, and Katherout.